Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So tonight, let's talk about whether SBF told the truth. Of course, he did that big interview with the New York Times today, but that's not all. He's going prime time tomorrow. So let's talk about that and what was discussed today. Do you believe him, or was he lying through his teeth? And also, you may have noticed Bitcoin crypto went up today, not because of SBF, but because of Chair Powell. Let's talk about what he said as well and what we could look forward to for the remainder of this week. So, welcome, guys. Let's jump right in. Man, this big conference, I was out, so I couldn't stream, I couldn't watch it live, but here's a synopsis. Basically, I kind of predicted that SBF would basically say, well, you know what? I didn't know what was going on, right? Like, it just all happened. I had no idea what was going on under my nose, right? So basically, he's taking the stance of, I'm incompetent, because it's not illegal to be incompetent. It's illegal if you have intent, okay? So from what I gathered, it seemed like he was portraying incompetency, okay? So he talked about a lot of things, asked a lot about what was happening. So, I mean, here's some of the things. Basically, to kind of sum up, he doesn't know what's going to happen. He even made a joke in the middle. I don't know if he intended to make a joke. He's like, yeah, I had a bad month. Yeah, him and everyone else that invested in FTX. But, he starts off, he talks about a lot like, you know what, I don't care what's going to happen to me. I just want the best for the people, right? He talked about how his lawyers highly advised him not to talk, not to do interviews, but he's like, well, whatever. I'm going to do it because it's the right thing to do. He basically said he has no money left. He has a credit card, $100,000 in his bank, and everything was put into FTX, so he lost it all. He was asked about the possible, the wild parties, the drug use, right? The wild sex scandals that was being circulated. And he's like, no, that didn't happen. We were actually playing board games. That's what happened. No legal drugs, no drugs of any kind, right? So actually that makes more sense than imagining SBF and Caroline and others having wild sex parties at that mansion. But, who knows? Who knows if that's the thing? He was pressed upon, okay, was it just like a bunch of kids on Adderall that's like running things, right? And he kind of just said, hey, I screwed up. We screwed up. We didn't track a lot of things that should have been tracked, right? A lot of risk management stuff we didn't care about. He's kind of admitting a lot of things. I don't know if this is like a admission of guilt or not. Or again, just claiming that he's incompetent and so is everyone else, and they just were in over their heads, right? So there's that. He also was asked about campaign donations because a lot of people have been saying, well, he's donated a lot to the Democrats, right? Is this a conspiracy or something like that? Well, he's like, no, my donations were mostly for pandemic prevention. That's the primary thing I was supporting with these contributions. And then he was asked, well, where the money coming from? Are these client assets? He's like, profits. Okay. About that Vox interview where he said he didn't know that the guy was going to release what he said. And within, basically, he was pointing fingers at Alameda. And he's like, oh, again, I didn't know. I forgot. I thought he was my friend. I didn't know that he was a reporter. And I didn't know he was going to leak that out, right? again, is that true? Is that really the truth? You know, could he really have forgotten that this guy he was talking to a year ago, right, was not a reporter and he thought of him as a friend? I don't know if that's believable. And then you go on to, you know, what about your lawyers, right? Your lawyers, are they telling you to do this? No. He's like, no. Everyone's telling me not to do this, not to do this, not to do this, but I don't care. I'm going to do it anyways. So when did he first learn about the problem? November 6th. November 6th. So he's claiming he didn't know about any of the problems at all until November 6th. That's when he started putting things together, 2 plus 2. And then he realized how big of a mess Alameda was. And then he started realizing that they didn't have enough assets and their hole was just too big. And then he does divert some blame saying, I didn't run Alameda. I didn't know what was going on. Okay, so is that believable? I think not. I didn't know the size of their position, right? So he's basically claiming he has no idea what happened with Alameda. He has no insight into whatsoever. And he thought it was a conflict of interest. That's why he wanted to just head FTX and let Alameda, Caroline, and the other guy that quit to run it. He thought it was a conflict of interest, even though they commingled money left and right between all the entities. So I find it hard to believe that somehow he's like, oh, conflict of interest, I don't really pay attention to them. Yet they're like giving each other massive loans left and right. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You know, Sam Bankman-Fried also took $1 billion loan himself from Alameda, right? So, I mean, there's no way that he didn't know, okay? Again, he's like, how could you not know that the funds are commingled, and how can you not know what's going on? He's like, I'm sorry, it just happened. I just didn't know. I didn't know. Again, based on some of the clips I've seen, based on what I've read, SBF is claiming basically he was just a terrible leader. He didn't know what was going on. He didn't mean for it. He's very sorry. And that he just was in over his head. Also, something else he said that's very interesting is the fact that he believes, first of all, FTX Japan is completely solvent. And also, he said that FTX.US is solvent. He said that he doesn't know why FTX.US isn't allowing withdrawals. He thinks that FTX US is completely solvent. Is that really the case? We know that FTX.US took a huge loan from BlockFi. One of the reasons why BlockFi went down is because of how much FTX borrowed and how much Alameda borrowed. So is that really the truth? I don't know, but he like went on record and said it. So that's strange, right? But when FTX.com went under, FTX.US was still allowing withdrawals. And remember, I showed you guys, they even had this like banner on top saying, withdraw immediately because we may be shutting down in the next few days, right? So they were warning people, but I don't know if it came too late. So that's what happened. Okay. And you know what? Someone like Bill Ackman, I know a lot of you guys know Bill Ackman, he actually said, call me crazy, but I think SBF is telling the truth. So what do you guys think? Do you think that SBF is telling the truth? I'm trying to give SBF the benefit of the doubt, thinking, well, maybe it was just a kid that got rich way too quickly, didn't understand anything, and you know what? Because of it, he caused a collapse. But then on the other hand, I have to remind myself, this is a kid, not really, because he was in the late 20s and 30s, that earned over $1 billion himself. He was a self-made billionaire. Okay? He got to the billion mark before he started FTX. He was the one that CZ was actually nervous about. And I'm thinking there's just no way that an incompetent fool can day trade himself to $1 billion, start FTX, start Alameda, start hundreds of companies, get to where they were just by being incompetent and lucky. I don't see how that's possible, right? But I don't know. He's turning some minds right now. Some people think that he's telling the truth. And remember, Kevin O'Leary also said there's not a bad bone in SBF's body, right? He was still defending SBF even after this. So let's see, because this is not the end. This is not the end of the drama. Tomorrow, I don't even know when he found time, or maybe this is inside the mansion, to have this one-on-one talk with Good Morning America. And this looks even more damning. Let me play this, because actually, like, it's building up like a lot of suspense with this trailer, and it's almost 500,000 people watched it already. Like, so let me play this real quick. A lot of suspense with this trailer, and it's almost 500,000 people. Let me get my audio ready.
I can't imagine what it feels like to go from $20 billion to $100,000.
Yeah.
How did he go from crypto hero to crypto supervillain?
Today, a lot of people look at you and see Bernie Madoff.
GMA tomorrow, Sam Bankman-Fried, one-on-one with George Stephanopoulos. What happened to the billions people invested with him?
What is the talent that you have that convinced people they should invest billions of dollars?
He was on top of the world.
You got all these celebrities. You did it in a big way.
Yeah.
Have you gotten calls from any of the celebrities who endorsed you?
But now...
Are you worried about going to jail?
And what led to this?
That's a pretty stunning admission.
The breaking new interview, tomorrow on ABC's Good Morning America.
That trailer had a lot of suspense. They wouldn't let him answer anything, or they cut off everything, right? So that looks like the interview to watch. Okay, so it seems like they're asking even harder questions. But again, I don't know when he found time to secretly move out of his mansion, or this was conducted in a mansion. We don't know. We don't know. All right, so that's the latest with SBF. Is he telling the truth? I'm going to say no. I still don't believe it. I don't believe that he was completely oblivious, incompetent, and just, you know what? And it just all happened under his nose, and he had no clue what was happening. I just don't buy that. I don't buy it. Even though right now it seems like he's selling that story pretty hard, and he's convincing some minds. I just don't buy it at this point. But we'll see. Maybe he sheds more light tomorrow. Maybe he's going to change more minds tomorrow after this interview. All right. And also, what's surprising is, you know what? BlackRock also said they had some exposure. They held $24 million on FTX. Interesting enough. Now, is there a connection there? Because BlackRock is a big investor of FTX, right? And Larry Fink playing it off like, you know what? We just didn't know. We had our due diligence. They point a finger at like other VCs like Sequoia, like, oh, they're in the same boat, right? Kind of playing this off. Or did he just leave a little bit on purpose just to throw off people into thinking that they were exposed too, right? I don't know. You got to figure BlackRock, they're a huge investor in FTX, the largest asset manager in the world. Did they really not see this coming? Unlikely, let's just put it that way. And of course, other people chiming in. Charles, I don't know if he ever actually commented whether or not he believes SBF, but he commented on, yes, we need more decentralization, okay? But, you know, decentralization, I like to remind people, there's different forms of decentralization because people like to throw out this term decentralization. But what does that really mean? So there are some projects that are controlled by DAOs, right? So that in a form, of course, is decentralization because the DAO is controlled by the people, voted by people, decisions are controlled by people, yes. But, you know, DAOs could be manipulated. There are certain entities that hold more tokens, for example, so they have greater voting power. So that's a form to kind of cheat that, right? And there's also projects that claim that they are decentralized because they don't own the chain. The chain does what it wants to, right? But what about the circulation? What about the circulation of the tokens? So case in point, like Ripple, Not trying to throw them under a bus or anything, but Ripple claims this. XRP Ledger will live on even if we die off. We have no control over the XRP Ledger. Yet Ripple themselves hold more than 50% of the circulating supply of XRP. So is that true decentralization, right? No. So you have different forms of decentralization. And let's not forget, DeFi projects have been hacked too. Even though they're decentralized, there has been hacks, there has been vulnerabilities, there have been rug pulls, right? So this argument that you just have to go decentralization and somehow that solves everything, that's not going to solve everything. We still need to have the good actors, right? The good people in this space really come together and kind of solve some of these things that we have seen before, right? Some of these collapses, these high-rising projects like Luna and Celsius and FTX, right? Whether they're decentralized or centralized, we got to make sure that they are run right. They're not highly leveraged. There's no risk. And also the proper precautions and safeguards are in place, right? And of course, you got to look at the code and patch those hacks. I mean, there's just so many things to it. It's not as black and white, clear cut, like, okay, decentralized versus centralized, right? There's going to be bad from both. But I do think that as more scrutiny, as more people become fearful of exchanges like FTX, there will be a push, a bigger push into decentralized finance dexes, and that is a good thing. But that's not the end-all, be-all, like, kind of solution. You still need to have good people working on good projects, doing good things, right? Because, yeah, we have seen some bad stuff, even from decentralized finance and decentralized projects, supposedly. So, yeah, so there's that. All right, so next up, what is there to talk about? Well, let's talk about the fact that Bitcoin went up a little bit higher. It's at 17.1, so that's good. Higher than this morning. Overall crypto market cap went up 860 billion. That's positive. So why did things start going up? Well, Powell also spoke today, and kind of like I was expecting, I was telling you guys that I do think that a pivot or slowdown in rate hikes is coming. And, you know, there's been predictions already posted about the next rate hike, and Powell says, yeah, as soon as December, we will slow down rate hikes. And he throws some real pivot language in this conference or this press conference. We wouldn't try to crash the economy and then clean up afterwards. Over tighten, because we think cutting rates is not something we want to do soon. That's why we're slowing down and going to try to find our way to what the right level is that lowers inflation over time. So basically saying we're still going to continue, but we don't want to crash the economy on purpose or over tighten. Okay, so he's throwing pivot language in there. So that is the reason why the markets actually rallied today. Not just Bitcoin, not just crypto, but U.S. economy. Not U.S. economy, U.S. markets also went up. But Elon actually thinks that they not only need to slow down, but they need to just start cutting. He believes that if Fed Powell does not start cutting, that we're going to go into deep recession next year. Interesting perspective. So Elon thinks we're already far past tightening. We have over tightened, and he believes that we need to have rate cuts. I don't know if that's actually going to come. I don't know if that's going to come. For sure, not going to come in December. But can we see some rate cuts in 2023? Maybe second half of 2023. But first few, I just don't see it. But, you know, we'll see how the economic data comes out. I mean, there's more coming out every single week, right? Every single month. As they come out, we'll see. Did the Fed go too far? Did they over-tighten already? Now, there's some other Elon news I want to talk about. Well, let's see. Elon says that the EU is threatening to ban Twitter. They want to actually control who Elon unbans from Twitter. That's the interesting thing. So basically, they're like, we don't want you to unban everyone. We want to kind of tell you who to unban, who not to unban. I'm pretty sure Elon is not going to cave into that, but it's kind of interesting how the EU is threatening to do this. Yeah. Obviously not a fan of free speech. And you know, Elon also visited Tim Cook today and said they hashed it out. And Twitter and Apple never really considered kicking out Twitter. So it seems like they're best buds now. All of a sudden. I don't know what's going to happen to that 30% that Elon was talking about. He was throwing a lot of stuff out about that 30% tax. Seems like that may have just gone out the window now, but it seems like they have kissed and made up. So I don't know what's going to happen there. But yeah. All right. As for everything else, you know, because of the Fed speech, because of Powell's speech, not only crypto, but the entire U.S. market went up. The S&P 500 closed above the 200 moving average, 200-day moving average. That's very, very positive, obviously. But DXY also went down, which is also positive. It's continuing its downward trend, and that's what we want. When the DXY goes down, good things happen to crypto and equities. So that's also happening because of the Powell speech. Fantastic. But directly... but how does it directly affect Bitcoin? Well, obviously, when the money flows out of DXY, flows out of a dollar, people tend to do something with it. They invest, which is why you see a lot of whales buying Bitcoin. Whales accumulate 800 million in BTC in under a week. This is what I tell you guys. The whales, the institutions, the big money, what do? They buy when other people are panicking, because that's what you're supposed to do. You buy when things are low. You buy when the retail investors are all claiming that Bitcoin's going to go to zero, right? So they've been accumulating massively, and we have seen so many Bitcoin flow out of exchanges. Some because retail investors are fearful, and you know they're putting their crypto on their own ledger, which is great, right? But there's also an enormous amount of whales just scooping up cheap Bitcoin. I mean, it's happening. It's just happening right in front of our eyes. And, you know, we got a lot of metrics like this comparing our current downtrend to previous downtrends. We're right there, right? Towards the bottom. There's a lot of metrics that show this. You still have 66% or 67% of all holders still there. That's a tremendous amount. So holders are not going anywhere. You know, accumulation by the retail people, anywhere from 0.1 to 10 is still going up. So things are looking good. Things are looking good. Fundamentally, Bitcoin has never been stronger. And you still have the support of the miners, the retail investors, and the whales seem to be stocking up at this point. So these are all great things. On top of that, DXY is coming down. On top of that, the Fed is going to pivot soon. You put all that together, that's like a quadfecta right there. All right, so outside of these, anything else going on? Well, Kraken's not feeling too good. Kraken's laying off 1,100 employees. That's 30% of their workforce. So obviously, they're not doing too well right now. You know, unfortunate circumstance right now. A lot of people are cutting back. And unfortunately, CZ takes a dig at Kraken and KuCoin. Interesting. Beware of platforms that offer high APYs and or have layoffs. If you don't do risk management now, don't blame others for the consequences later. The second part definitely relating to Kraken, right? And it could be because Jesse, the CEO of Kraken, took a shot at CZ at how he did proof of reserves. So maybe there's a little little payback. I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, overall today, pretty good day. It turned out to be a SBF / Powell day. One brought good news, the other not so much. We'll take it. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right, scrolling up here. SBF is so effed. Hey, Lauren says, in law, it's called fool's play. I guess that's when you pretend like you're just incompetent and you have no intent. Oh, thanks for that. Fool's play. People are saying don't fall for it. Someone said 24 million to BlackRock is couch money. Yeah, so that's why maybe they left it there on purpose, you know, to kind of throw the scent off of them. SBF is actually an AI made by Cancer. Where's Do Kwon? No idea. No idea where Do Kwon is. He's been very quiet. The heat is off Do Kwon right now. That's for sure. He was claiming that he wanted to have the meetup, right? Maybe he could have it in the Bahamas. All right, I'm still scrolling down. Someone's asking, is Kraken in trouble? I don't know. They're laying off employees. Doesn't necessarily mean they're in trouble. Coinbase laid off employees. Crypto.com laid off employees. Literally every company in crypto laid off employees other than Binance. So I don't know too much about Kraken. I've used it once or twice in the past, but never really fully used it. Mike says, good day, George. Thanks to you, I removed all my coins to my new Nano S Plus. Congratulations. SBF smiled when he heard a bankruptcy story. Yeah. I think it's too soon to play the XRP educational video. Charles asked, yes, I actually took vacation in Bahamas. At that time, things were still okay. No idea that SBF actually lived there. Well, I mean, Bitcoin is looking good. Broke through this resistance line, right? The one that's all the way back, that went back to November. It's breaking through some of these levels you could see, right? So, I mean, so far so good for Bitcoin. Maybe we are going to get that Christmas rally. I've been telling you guys that. You know, I'm still hopeful that we get a good Christmas rally, good Santa rally, you know, especially with this Fed pivot language thrown out there. They're ready to cut rate, not cut rates, slow down the rate hikes. So that could be bullish overall, going all the way until the end of the year. So could get exciting. All right, someone said, Brad said DCA day. Oh, I forgot. What do you think about Beanie? Yeah, no thanks. No thanks. How's the carnivore diet going? Still going. I'm more or less kind of converted back to keto. Still more carnivore than keto, but I mixed in some vegetables, some salads in there, but still basically like no carbs whatsoever. Still keeping off the sodas and very minimal alcohol. So those are good things. All right, I gotta bring up. All right, here's my DCA portfolio. So it's a little better than last week. I was hoping it was better this week, much better, but we just started. Last week we were like minus 55%. So what to DCA today? I forgot what I DCA last week. I think I just went with the big boys. LWJ, welcome. I don't know. Everything is so low. Phantom has been doing well recently because Andre Cronin came back. So there may be a bigger push for Phantom in the near run. You know, some of these other ones have been decimated. Algorand, Polkadot, Condana, not really doing anything. What happened to EOS? EOS is supposed to rebrand to Antelope. I don't know what happened there. I thought that should have been done already. VeChain is still always good. Chainlink, you know, about to open up the staking. I mean, there's a lot of projects with a lot of good stuff happening. You know, I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do VeChain, Phantom, and a little more Doge. That's what I'm going to do. All right, so it's $100 in case you guys are new. It's $100 every DCA time. So $100. Oh, so it'll be $33 each. Let's do 33 divided by 0.0190. Okay, and then let's do a little Phantom here. $38, and then little Doge. All right, so this week, VeChain, Phantom, and Doge. All right, that's it for this week. 5,000x leverage in Shiba. No. Yes, I'm still holding on to Sol. When's your next vacation? I have no idea. I have no idea. DK Grim, you have like 20 crypto net portfolio. Do you really keep up with all of them? Yeah, I do. Not completely, but you guys know I cover the news. I look at a lot of data all the time, so I'm able to keep up most of it. At one point in time, I was keeping up like 250 crypto. You know, I could still go down the list and talk about at least 250 crypto, if not more. But in terms of like the day-to-day, or if they're having a hackathon or conference, I can't keep up that up. But like what they're actually doing, what they're about, yeah. What do you think about Plan B and the stock-to-flow model? Well, it's been invalidated, but it had a good run. Models are created based on, you know, the past, right? And what we're going through right now, Bitcoin has never gone through before. Bitcoin has never survived really a recession. So this is very, very, very different. But that's okay. Doesn't mean that Bitcoin's not going to go back up because it invalidated stock to flow. Simple Green, appreciate it, man. Why would you hold on to ETH if there's possibility of destruction with the XRP case? Doesn't BTC make a safer sense? Not really. Not really. Even if ETH is declared outright by the SEC as security, doesn't mean that they're going to die and go to zero. They'll be hurt, but they're not going to go die and go to zero. ETH, I still think is a great hold. The XRP case is not going to resolve until like sometime in late 2023. Okay, and in the meantime, there's still plenty of growth left, and ETH is deflationary at this point. So let's not forget also, most of the tokens, almost all of the smart contracts, over 50% of liquidity in DeFi projects are all on top of Ethereum still. Thoughts on using whale stats, or is there a better one? You mean the whale alerts, like on Twitter? They work, but sometimes whales know that people are watching it, so they tend to like shift things around on purpose to scare people. So, yeah, that has happened in the past. Yeah, no, I don't plan on visiting SBF in the Bahamas. My buddies and I bet on what you DCA into every week. Thoughts on how you come up with the idea of doing this for the audience? You know, because it worked with me. You know, but it's easy to say. Anyone could say, like, oh, you know, I bought in early, right? A lot of guys you guys watch probably say that, like, oh, I bought in early, right? But I found that with everything I've done, you know, trying to day trade, try to swing trade, trying to outsmart the market, and everything I've done, what ended up happening was all the stuff made me lose more than had I just DCA'd. So DCA turned out to be the best winner. So that's why I wanted to prove to you guys, show you guys that DCA is the way. And, you know, there's times it looks bad. Like right now, it looks bad. You know, someone new coming in watching this say, well, what are you talking about? You're down 50%, right? Shorter time frames, it could look bad. But you look at a longer time frames, that's how you win. You buy when things are low. No one really knows. You even look at all the famous investors from Wall Street. You look at all the big investors. Every single one will tell you, I don't day trade. I don't try to outsmart the market, right? I just pay attention, and when I see a good opportunity, I buy. And usually those opportunities come when everyone else is panic selling. That's just how it works. All of them will tell you the same thing. DK, I'm going to start paying my dues. This information is priceless. I'm glad. I'm helping you out, man. R. Alex Franco, appreciate that. Charizard, you're probably asking about mass just like everyone else because of this Twitter thing, because this blue Twitter index thing that created by Binance. I wouldn't put all your eggs in that basket. I wouldn't actually put any eggs into that basket. I looked into mass. I wasn't terribly impressed. Yes, they have some stuff that deals with social networks, but it's not terribly exciting for me. Evil Miss. Luckily, no. No, that guy never came back, so that's a good thing. Thoughts on 2023 Corvette? I would love to get my hands on the new Z06. But it's impossible. The dealerships are impossible to work with. I called about that Z06 like 6 months ago or 8 months ago when they first just kind of hinted that. And I'm like, I want to put down some money and pre-order. They're like, oh, yeah, we'll call you back. No answer. Then when I heard pre-orders actually open, I'm like, I called back. I'm like, I want to order. Yeah, we'll call you back. No answer, right? Because they don't actually really want anyone to order at the dealerships. They want to order from themselves and then mark it up like $50K because that's how they're going to make their money, right? They want to order everything and get it and then sell it Because if you look at the Z06s being sold now, they're going for like 170, 180K. That's not what they're at. Their MSRP is supposed to be at like 110. Even if you add in all the accessories like 130, 140. But the dealerships are marking them up like 40 or 50K. So screw them. Screw them. Illegos, welcome. Welcome. I don't know if I said that right. Is it true you secretly advise Elon? Well, let's just say I can't talk about it. Jared, welcome. Welcome. Placing my eggs into Shiba. I mean, I don't dislike Shiba. I think they have potential. I think they definitely have potential, and they're trying to make themselves into a legit L1/L2, trying to get themselves out of become a meme coin. I think that's terrific. Would you buy more Sol? That's an interesting one. I kind of shot myself in the foot because, you know, when this whole FTX thing was coming down and it was still like $30-something, people asked me, are you going to sell Sol? I'm like, I really should, but I'm just going to hold on to it because it's not my largest bag. But I had a significant amount, you know, and it has gone down like 70% since then. So I'm still holding it. I think it will continue to come back, but it'll be slower. You know, whether or not it's going to become or get into the top 10 anytime soon, maybe never again. But can it still trend up? Yes. But can it trend up and show its glory days strength because FTX was backing them in 2021? Probably not. Probably not. Crypto Stan, I got a notebook and taking notes so later I know where to find specific info. That's awesome. Awesome, Stan. Does LTC have potential or is it a scam? It's not a scam. It's not a scam. Depends how you look at it. Charlie Lee did create Litecoin to be... he said he experimented. It was like a joke at the beginning, but it turned into something big. I don't think it's a scam. He has lied about Mimblewimble for so many years before it finally came, and then still no one cares about it. It's a store of value. Is it better store of value than Bitcoin? No. Does it appreciate as fast as Bitcoin? No. Should you hold on Litecoin instead of Bitcoin? No. That's honestly what you boil it down is it better than Bitcoin? No. So then why would you hold Litecoin over Bitcoin? It's that easy. SBF doesn't sound smart, not a good communicator, probably book smart. I know, I mean, not everyone's a good public speaker. I'm not either. If you told me to go stand in front of a stage and talk to people, I'd be nervous as hell. I've gotten used to speaking in a camera with you guys, but, you know, speaking in front of people or like millions of people or whatever, it's different. It's not for everyone. George, don't you think the community during a bull market a lot better than bull? Almost filtered out the tourists and conversations is so much better. Yes and no. I mean, obviously, because all the new people left, right? What you're left with are the holders, long-term holders, and yeah, so I think that's good. But you know, we still want to continue to educate. We still want new people in the space. We still want the ecosystem to grow as a whole. So we still want new people in the space asking noobish questions. All right. I'll let you guys go. This is a long stream. There was a lot to talk about. You know, tomorrow we got more to look forward to from SBF. He's going to do that Good Morning America interview. That trailer, I got to admit, was spot on. It makes me really, really, really want to watch it. So I don't know when it's going to be playing, but I'm going to figure it out. If I can stream it, if the time's right, I will stream it for you guys. But otherwise, we'll just see. I'll do a recap. But besides SBF, the other good news, good news, not counting the bad news of SBF. Good news is we got some good pivot language from Fed Chair Powell, and that's fantastic. That could lead the rally well into the end of December, and that's what we want. So tune in tomorrow, guys, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, all right? I'll see you guys in the morning. Take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.